Hi, in this video, we will try to build a strategy based on Nifty 50 stocks. Now, the logic that we will build is that we will scan all the Nifty 50 stocks every day and we will find the stocks which are making a range breakout. Now, what exactly is a range breakout? A range breakout is basically when something like this happens. So, if you have a look at this image, you are seeing that we have basically marked the high and low of a particular 5-minute candle. Now this candle is something that you can define. So every trader would have his own definition of what a range could be. So let's assume my definition of the range is from 9:15 to 9:30, which is basically our first 15-minute candle. So in this case, I will basically be marking the high and the low of the first 15-minute candle. Now what I will do is that in case this 9:15 candle high is broken, I will basically go long and I will take a long trade in the futures and options segment. However, if the low is broken, in that case, I will take a short trade. So my long condition is high should be broken, short condition is low should be broken. So this entire setup basically will be checked on each and every stock. So just to give you a couple of more examples to make you aware about what exactly are we trying to build, we'll have a look at Reliance first. So when we look at Reliance, we are looking at the 15-minute candle. Now the 15-minute candle, the first 15-minute candle will basically be this one. Now this setup would work very well on trending days and would not work very well when there are range bound movements. Since there are so many stocks, it's quite bound that at least one or multiple of those stocks will basically be trending. Now in your, we are basically looking at this 9:15 to 9:30 candle. Again, you can choose any different time frame and test it on different time frames and see what works best for you. Um, Once this low of this candle is broken, we are basically going to take an entry, and our target out here will basically be the equivalent points of the difference of the high and low. So let's say if this point is this entire difference is a 15 point number. Our target from this point will also be basically like a 15 points. So this is the strategy that we will build. So our stop loss will again be the high of this candle. So let's say if we are taking an entry upon low of a short trade, our stop loss will be the high of the candle. If we are taking an entry upon long trade, which is when the high is broken, our stop loss will be the low of that candle. So that way we are managing the risk. Now, what positions are we taking? We will basically take a position in a call option or in a put option depending on what we want to trade. So let's say if HDFC Bank's low is broken, we will buy a put. If ICICI Bank's high is broken, we will buy a call. So it will basically be a buying strategy in the stock option segment. Now let's see how do we build this strategy on Tradetron. As usual, this same strategy will be available for you in the link in the description. You can directly duplicate it, change the numbers, test it with different things, and you'll be able to be good to go. Now, in my strategy, I basically have selected my instrument as Nifty FUT STK. Now, you would first wonder as to if I have Nifty 50 as a list, why have I selected Nifty 50 STK? This is because in every list, whenever you go to make a list, it asks you for the exchange that you want to trade in. Now, since on Tradetron, there are two different exchanges. One is for NSE, which can be used for cash segment based trading, or there is NFO, which can be used for FNO trading. Now, the Nifty 50 list is basically a list which is on the cash segment. So, if you're using a cash segment list, then the conditions will be checked on cash segment and the trades will also be taken on the cash segment. If you need trades to be checked on the trades to be taken on the futures and options, you need to select NFO list, which will basically be the list of our choice out here. So in the Nifty FUT STK list, we are basically having our exchange as NFO, which is why I'll be able to take trades in futures and options. Now in here, I have added some entry conditions. So let's first have a look at these entry conditions. My entry conditions in here are first and foremost to check the time of the trade. So I first want to see if it is more than 9:30, which is my timing for the candle time. So if I'm looking at the first 15-minute candle, it will basically be 9:15 to 9:30. That's why I'm checking if my time is greater than 9:30. Now the next check that I will make will be that if my LTP is more than the high of the first 15-minute candle. Now I want to show you one thing out here, which is that when I'm selecting my ORB keyword, now ORB basically stands for opening range breakout. So when we are looking at ORB, um, ORB is basically giving us one input, which is the start time, and one input, which is the end time. Now, in your, it is very important that you use the same format for adding your time inputs. So let's say if I need start time as 9:15, I'll select 9:15, and the end time out here, which I'm using, is 9:29. Now, it is very important that you use, let's say if I want the candle of 9:15 to 9:30. So in my end time, I will not select 9:30. This is because this is the end time that is written. If you select 9:30 out here, it will wait for the 9:30th candle to end. So it will by default give you time from 9:15 to 9:31, which we don't want. So out here, you need to select 1 minus the time that you want that candle to end. So let's say if I want the first 15-minute candle, I will select 9:15 to 9:29 because this end time will happen after the 9:29th minute ends, which is something that you should remember. So I'll select 9:15 to 9:29, and my condition will be if LTP is more than the high of that particular range, then I will take a trade. Everywhere I have selected futures as my instrument, and I have selected the list name in the list name that I want to select for my underline. Finally, I've selected a position detail keyword. Now this position detail is basically like a check that I'm using to make sure that my trade is only taking two trades at max in one instrument. So let's assume my HDFC Bank trade takes an entry in one call. After that, I don't want HDFC Bank to again take an entry in the same call. It should take an entry in a put but not any call. So that is the logic that I've used to manage with my position detail. So when I'm using position detail, entry, all, and I'm selecting call, it will make sure that only one entry can be allowed in the call, and in my set 2 it should allow only one entry in the put. So this way it will allow only one trade for long and one trade for the short, which will be our put instrument trade. So with that, we will now look at the position builder. Position builder is very straightforward. I have directly just selected my list and I've selected a call option, which will be ATM for the current month expiry for one lot. So with that, we will now see the entry conditions of the set 2. Now set 2 entry conditions are pretty much identical. All we are doing is time is greater than 9:30. Again, position detail of entry all put quantity of that particular list has to be 0. So this again makes sure that there is one long, one short trade. And I have, if LTP is less than or equal to the low of the first 15-minute candle. So with that, our entry conditions are clear and complete. Now, after our entry, we will basically need an exit. So our exit logic is basically out here. Now, as per this condition, I'm basically checking if the LTP is less than the low. So let's say if I took an entry based on the high of the range breakout, and after that range breakout happens, if after taking my trade, I'm in a long trade, and the price goes below the low of that particular opening range candle, in that case, I will take a exit and I will square off that position. And at the same time, since my condition for short will be triggered, I will basically be taking a short trade in that same instrument. So that is the logic that has been built out here. Now, finally, I'll also want a take profit logic. So in case, let's say my entry happens and the instrument moves in my favor, which means I'm going long, and the instrument moves in my favor, it is going to basically calculate these many points, and whatever is the number of points, it will basically keep it as my target. So I'll have a fixed amount which will be my target and my stop loss as well. So with that, we will now look at the advanced settings that have been built. Again, you can duplicate this strategy and directly use it if you do like it. Now, my universal exit, since it is an in intraday strategy, I have a simple time-based universal exit condition. If my time is greater than 3:15, I will be squaring off from the instrument. Finally, I have my advanced price settings. I'll keep this on market price. Out here, since we are dealing with stock options, it would also make sense to look at this as a limit order. So you wouldn't want to fire market orders due to liquidity issues. You can always select a limit price as LTP, and in here you can select the number of revision attempts. Now, when you add a revision attempt, this revision attempt will happen in case the order is not filled. So let's assume I select these settings out here, um, and I select the relevant ticks. So let's say if it fires a limit order, the order is not filled for 5 seconds. In that case, it will wait for 5 seconds, and after those 5 seconds, it will make a revision attempt where after that 5 seconds, it will increase the order by 5 ticks, which is the minimum tick size of that particular instrument, and it will place that limit order. After this 5 revision attempts happen, let's assume we did all these revision attempts. After that also, if there is no execution, in that case we can have a final action, which would either be to execute this as a market price. So we'll select this, and we'll keep our conditions as is out here. Now, finally, I have my reactivate on exit after settings, which I'll select as 6 hours. So every day after that day ends, the next day, like it will, the strategy will be reactivated. And I can of course add my trailing stop losses as needed. Out here, the capital required will be quite high because we are looking at stock options, and we have left it open. So at a very highly trending day, it could take a trade into all 50, 51 different stocks of the Nifty 50. So I hope this video helped. If you have any suggestions on what topics we should cover in future videos, feel free to drop it down in the comments. And if you have any other suggestions on what we should take up as topics of future video, I hope this video on I hope this range breakout video helped on Nifty stocks. For any future requests on stuff that you'd want us to cover in future sessions, feel free to add it in the comments below, and we would be happy to take it up in future sessions. Thanks. Bye.